Hello, and welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast. I'm Abby, and with me today is my beautiful co-host Ashley. And this season, we are diving into the Unfinished Tales, a collection of stories and fragments and background details that expand on the events and the characters of the Silmarillion, the Hobbit, and the Lord of the Rings.
These are the deleted scenes that Tolkien had to cut from his larger works, but they do give us a deeper understanding of Middle-earth's history and lore.
So, if you've been listening for a while, thank you so much. And if you're new, hello, welcome. But we do suggest starting from the beginning of at least this season, or maybe the very beginning of this podcast, to get, the full picture and not be super confused and, losing.
Get to know us a little better, too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inside jokes you got to catch up on.
Yeah.
So whether you're familiar with these stories or discovering them for the first time, no worries. We'll help break things down and keep things easy to follow or nerd out on the details that you might have already thought about. So with that being said, let's go in the Unfinished Tales.
Let's go to the most happy, nothing sad ever happens, wholesome book. Let's do it.
Well, we actually can start off with some good news because, Abigail,
yes,
we have a new Patreon.
Patron? A patron on Patreon?
On our Patreon. Yes. Sorry, that is hard to get my math.
A Patreon?
Yes. Victoria has joined our ranks, and you know what that means? We have to sing her a song.
Man, okay. Okay. No, I got this.
Okay. No rehearsals at all. Just off the top of the robots' heads. Going with what they threw down. Victoria, this one's for you.
Dramatic lighting, spotlight on Ashley.
The road goes ever on and on, through valleys deep and mountains strong. Victoria, you've joined our way, and now our journey's brighter today. Dan and Tom, you've been so true, and Kevin too. We thank you. Together our fellowship grows, a bond that only friendship knows.
Woo! Woo! Clap. Like I said, Ashley knows the tune a little bit better than me, so let's do it. Victoria, your light is so bright, helps our dreams take wondrous flight. With all of you we stand so tall, our circle strong, we've got it all. Through skies of blue and stars so wide, we'll share our tales with joy and pride. So thanks to you, our journey's grand, with love and laughter and a helping hand. Oh, I improvised at that part. Woo!
I like it. Woo! Victoria, Dan, Tom, and Kev, together we will dream and live and Kev rhyme according to the robots. So, yeah, nailed it.
Woo!
Buying, selling CDs, doing concerts later, sign autographs,
Guys, we only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So we need 3 more people to have a fellowship of 9.
Oh,
and we could be that.
I like it.
Or we can go all the way to the 14 and do the hobbits. The hobbits and dwarves, and so.
What's interesting though, this is an interesting team up in my brain. So we have 3 elves now. Victoria, Tom, and Kevin are all elves, and then we got Dan, our dwarf, and then I don't know what you and I are. So can you imagine though if the fellowship had 3 elves, 1 dwarf, and 2 hobbits?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're the hobbits because we're in the Shire.
Yeah, we're probably the hobbits. So sorry, that just like it's blowing my mind how that would be. They're definitely would we have done better or worse? Who knows?
You know what we should do with our elf friends is and dwarf friends is find their elven names and dwarven names.
Ooh,
That'd be fun.
yes. That would be so fun.
Okay, first K. I apologize. I'm not emotional. Um, it's just so
It's
beautiful
just
outside.
allergies.
If you hear me sneezing a lot, that's why. I was telling Ashley my sign-in name is Sneezy the today. So I'm sorry that I sneezed during your song, Victoria. I apologize. Um, no, so I was telling Ashley what she signed on. She's like, Sneezy. I'm like, it's just too springy outside. It's just so
There's just too much
spring.
spring out there. So much spring.
It's gorgeous. All my flowers are so beautiful outside. But I was thinking in my brain, I think it's Monet. Is it Monet or Rembrandt who does like a lot of florals, like a lot of like fields of flowers and like
Does it look like they did it perfectly and then someone just like shifted it so it's like kind of a blurred version of it?
yes.
That's
Uh-huh.
Monet.
Okay.
That's Monet.
Okay. And some people think, oh, Monet looks like that because he probably had like bad vision and like that's like a conspiracy theory that he had like bad vision and that's what like it really did look like to him because his vision
Right.
was like kind of blurry. My theory is he had seasonal allergies and his eyes were watering all the time and that's what it looked like to him.
Or he kept sneezing, so it'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this flower is perfectly symmetrical." Up to it, and it's like this blurred. Like, well, I guess I could make the whole thing look like that. I guess.
Yeah. He's
Blend
like
and
smearing it.
blend and
He's
blend.
got boogers all over the canvas.
Yep.
He's like trying to smear it off. So,
I agree. I
I
totally think
just
that's
think
logical. I like it. I like it.
that he had hay fever and he just couldn't see and because the flowers are beautiful, he paints like spring scenes. So, one has to assume
Hmm.
that maybe that's why.
I agree. I like it.
Anyway,
I like
I
it.
will try to keep my sneezing to a minimum, at least off microphone.
That's what that mute button's for. Okay,
I can't catch it
so
sometimes. Maybe it just goes like, oh man. Uh, nope, it's gone. Okay. It's all
so
good.
how much do you remember of what happened last time in the Unfinished Tales? Because last week we did a Rings of Power.
So, it
Before that,
was the reality TV high school drama episode,
yes.
The Love Triangle,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
between
With
two very sad boys who a girl loves them both and they're broken and
their
they've got trauma
yeah.
and they
But you know what? Findulis has her own problems too. Let's not forget poor Findulis, who hasn't
uh,
gone through anything compared with these two boys.
except being rejected twice.
Yes. Because, of course, Túrin has no idea, is totally oblivious, thinks of her more of a sister, um, doesn't even, like, is he just completely oblivious, or does he not even think he's in the same league? And he's like, she's just so nice. Like, it's nice to have a friend. But yeah, or is he totally oblivious? And then Gwyndor's like, I'm so traumatized, but I still love you. And she's like, your kind of trauma is kind of gross now. Um, and so Gwyndor's like, hey, I know you're eyeing that Túrin guy, but he's super like cursed and stuff. So you don't want to be with that guy. By the way, his name is Túrin. Oopsie. Um, and Túrin's just like, why are you guys all sad? Don't be sad. It must be because I am so awesome. Is that it? Is that it? And
Everybody
Gwyndor's
wants
like,
this.
Gwyndor's like, I want to punch you in the face. And Findulis is like, I'm sad. And that's basically it.
So So, what makes me laugh is what was I thinking? You were saying that like he just doesn't care. Oh, that I was thinking how he responds to people who show love to him. His track record isn't great. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't respond the right way.
No.
Is it Beleg and
Mm-mm.
the lady who helped raise him in the forest, the elf lady,
Mm.
and his mom and dad, and like the king who was like, I'll help you, and he's like, no. uh
Yeah.
for some reason makes me want to go the opposite direction and not, I don't know, he's not showing much promise of understanding relationships very well. So I could see him
Yeah.
not picking up what she's laying down, you know?
Yeah.
Those
And of
and
course,
you know
like,
what? They're probably not
imagine
even subtle hints.
well, I was gonna say, like, maybe they are a bit more subtle because she's, used to the court life and the court flirting and stuff like that. She's an elf. I can't see elves being major flirts. Um, but
I don't know.
yeah,
Do you see
I
that
I I
girl
think it's
on
a
Rings of
combination. Like,
Power?
I think she okay, yeah, that girl. Yeah, I'll give you that. Just let me help you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I hope you're
Um,
mute.
so yes. Ugh. Anyway. Uh, okay, so that's kind of where we left things. Now I was very excited. This episode might be a little bit longer because we are finally almost done with this freaking appendix to this chapter, which is practically a chapter in and of itself, but it's just like a scattered, even more deleted scenes, like shorter deleted scenes somehow. Ugh, this appendix was killing
It's
me.
like those deleted
Um,
scenes in animated movies where it's just sketches and it's like a weird voiceover,
yeah, yeah,
where it's not a full
very much so.
deleted scene. It was just a thought that could have happened.
Yes, I very much think that exact. You nailed it, Abby. Uh, because now we also have to kind of keep the cohesion of the story just to keep it straight in our brains. So I have to go back and forth between the Silmarillion and the Unfinished Tales. So got a little complicated.
All right.
So I told Abby before, I'm like, I might have gotten a little too much in my brain about it. So I'm sorry. I'm going to try and slow it down, but make sure you're keeping up with me.
Pull out your
'Cause then,
cork boards with your string and your push
yeah.
pins
Yes.
to connect
So
all the glues.
after Gwyndor told Fendulis about Túrin's real name, Túrin, of course, got mad at Gwyndor. And Túrin tells him that, you revealed my true identity. And because revealing the true identity, Gwyndor has now called doom upon him, which he was previously hiding from. Because, like, yeah, you've been totally hiding from your doom this whole time. And nothing bad has happened around you at all since you've been hiding. It's totally worked in your favor, dude.
He's
Um,
witness protection.
yeah. To which Gwyndor gives the awesome line, "The doom lies in yourself, not in your name."
Bam, bam, bam.
Yes. So I guess we'll never know. Like, could Turin actually have hidden from his doom in Nargothrond under this secret identity if Gwyndor had not revealed it? I highly doubt it, but I think that's what Turin thinks, and then he's like mad at Gwyndor pretty much from here on out.
I could totally see him, like, when she says his name, he, like, ducks, like, looks all around, like, huh! Like, wait, no! You revealed my name!
So word spreads to the king of Nargothrond, who is Orodreth at this time, and it is indeed Túrin, son of Hurin, in their kingdom. And Orodreth, instead of like, get out of here with your madness and your cursedness, Hurin is such a honorable character in this time that he actually gives Túrin great honor. So much so that Túrin is now able to completely change the battle tactics of the elves of Nargothrond. He has that much sway and, for lack of a better word, power.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Is it his
So
dashing looks, good looks?
it is his, yes, Must be it. So
They're
through
like, we
Túrin's
must follow
guidance,
him.
they
He's
went from
beautiful.
ambush and stealth and secret arrow to brave strokes and battle in the open.
Okay, that reminds me. Have you ever seen? I think it's the third one, the third maybe second. I think it's the third one of Night at the Museum, where they wake up Colonel Custard, and he's like,
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
and then we'll go up on them and yell, surprise attack. They're like, wouldn't that ruin the element of a surprise attack if you yell it before you do it? It's like, right. That's what I can think of as like, that is what
Uh-huh.
Turin's his idea is like, and then we sneak up on them and yell, surprise attack.
I mean, the amount of ego, I'd say, is about the same because they also start making mass amounts of weapons, which doesn't draw any attention at all. And, how are they going to get these mass amounts of weapons in and out of Nargothrond? It's a hidden realm, Abby. So, let's make a giant bridge right to the front door, completely revealing our position just so we can get these, mass amounts of weapons in and out easier.
Nargothrond FedEx needs to
Uh-huh.
come in.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. And, Gwyndor, he tried his best to argue against all this, but eventually everyone becomes Team Túrin and he quickly gets put to the wayside.
the
Poor
Nargothrond, the
Turin did nothing
Nargothrond
for his cause.
FedEx, the Nargothrond FedEx person, like he's like, I got a shipment here for Turin, and it has like all the names, and he has to read through all of them. Like,
All the nicknames.
yeah, he's like, we need to sign for this, please.
So, despite all this blatant disregard for Nargothrond's secrecy that immediately reveals to Morgoth where Nargothrond is, Túrin insists everyone else keep his name secret. Like,
Okay.
my identity has to remain secret, but you know what? I think we don't need to hide Nargothrond anymore, right, guys? I mean, what's the point? But me, totally keep it a secret. Hush, hush. Keep it on the
Yeah.
DL.
Do you
So,
think?
as the areas, go ahead.
Do you think that like it's okay? I'm not comparing it exactly, but why it's kind of like in Rings of Power. He doesn't have like this exact thing happen, but like why are they just like automatically giving important battle roles to people that they just met? Like in Rings of Power, they gave it to Sauron, and I know it's because he had like of what's the word? Like
The heraldry, the herald thing?
no, like kind of in their
Oh.
brains, like, oh yeah, we do trust him. Like, yes,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
do that.
Manipulation.
And like Turin doesn't have that, but like what's up with these elves that are like, you know what? He makes some good points. Let's put him in charge. Or you know
Yeah.
what? We've been here forever.
Especially
But
given
this
how
guy
old
just
they
walked
are.
in.
Yeah.
This guy just walked in. And you know what? He's in charge now. Like, let's
Yeah.
just do that. It's like that I come on, man. And you wonder why you're failing.
Yeah. And you wonder why Elrond later is like, men are weak. Like, yeah, if you had seen the things I've seen,
Yeah.
why? They are pretty weak in this book right now. So as the areas surrounding Nargothrond are swiftly cleared out of orcs and all the enemy, rumors do spread of the Black Sword of Nargothrond, and even the word spreads as far as to Doriath, and King Thingol hears about it, which is an interesting thought because you think of the Black Sword being referenced here because originally that was King Thingol's. It was in his like armory. He was like his special collection that he let Beleg, choose a prize. And so does Thingol know Beleg is dead? Like, does Thingol think this is Beleg doing this, or does he know it's Túrin?
Interesting.
And how?
Interesting.
Right? Because how else would he know that he's dead? Because he kind of was just like on this mission to help Túrin,
And
and
he was all by
didn't.
himself, so there wasn't anybody to go back
Uh
and
huh.
say anything about it.
Hmm. So just an interesting thought I had. Um, Either way, in other parts of the world, since the area surrounding Nargothrond was essentially closed off to Morgoth because of Túrin,
Mhm,
coincidentally,
mhm.
Morgoth shifts his focus to another area, which just so happens to be right where his mother and sister live in Dorloman in his
What a
previous hometown.
coinkydink!
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
So Torin causes them more harm. But luckily, she's not a baby anymore, so they can flee, and they do flee to Doriath. And unfortunately, I can only imagine the awkwardness of their arrival in Nargothrond, as Single has to admit to Morwen, which I don't know who's the more scary in that conversation. Probably Morwen. That so funny you're here. I know you gave me your son to like protect and stuff, but he's not here, and I technically don't know where he is. So
Anyway, have you had
sorry
this
about that.
bread? It's great bread. Let's try some bread. Everyone, bread?
um, so that part's awkward. Plus, I can imagine like he did what now? Like the stories of Turin, like he took the guy's clothes and then he did what? Like I
Instead
think that's
of
like the biggest hot gossip around Turin.
like hot gossip, it's like told in tapestries and you just see it. She like walks in, you're like, oh. And she's like, oh, that guy looks familiar. Oh, 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 oh. Like, oh
Neonor, close your eyes. Don't look.
no. Yeah. It's pixelated in the tapestry. No.
um, but at the same time, it's very vague, but there were hints earlier in these unfinished tales that Orodreth and Thingol were in communications. So he might know where Turin is. He might know that Turin is the Black Sword. But
Okay.
again, I'm like connecting dots that are not actually there.
Okay, can I say something? We were reading The Hobbit, and I totally forgot about this aspect of The Hobbit, and I was like, I wonder if more peoples of Middle Earth used this way as communication. Is they have birds that talk, and they can like speak full English human sentences, and they like
Mhm.
were the dwarves were talking to the ravens. Were they the ravens? I
Mhm.
think they were.
That's why
Anyway,
in the Rings of Power show, that big elevator thing, there's a huge raven at the top.
yeah. So I don't know if it's just the dwarves get this fun little
I,
thing,
I think it's
but
a
like,
dwarf thing.
do they get like messages quickly if they had something like that? The elves? Like a
They don't
special.
though. They just had scouts and messengers and stuff.
I
I know.
thought they were cool with like geese and swans.
That's just Tour
Oh,
and Elwing.
yeah, see.
So, yeah. So, nonetheless, despite Turin not being there, Morwen and Neonor do stay with Fingal in Doriath for the foreseeable future. And then here, so that was all in the Silmarillion. And here is where we're meeting back up with the unfinished tales, and we are finally getting very, very close to finishing this appendix. So, back in Nargothrond, two elves have arrived as messengers that we actually have met before. Speaking of Tor, when we learned about Tor's tale.
Yes.
You remember who they are?
Were they the ones that they like ran past him because they were going the other way? Or am I thinking of two other
Yeah.
elves?
Yeah. They had the Fëanorian lamps, and they helped lead Tor through the archway, the gate of the Noldor, as it's called, because he was just staring at this wall and figuring out how the water's telling me to go through, but it's a rock. I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then somehow they like pop out of the rock. Yeah.
He like steadies
So
himself to like fully run through the rock, and they're like, "No, no, 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 don't do that. Please don't do that." Like they were taking bets of how long it took him before like was gonna just run straight through the wall, and right before he was gonna do it, they're like, "No, no, 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 please don't."
but see, okay, I'm just gonna say right now though, there's a big difference. Well, I mean, we knew there was a big difference between Tor and Túrin, but like even just that act alone, because I 100% believe Tor would have done that out of blind faith that
He's like,
Ulmo
"I can do
is
it."
telling me to go through this wall. If Ulmo's telling me to do it, I gotta do it. He's
Yeah.
saying I can. Just that blind faith. Túrin does not have that, and we will hear more about that in a minute. But so the elves' names are Gelmir and Arminas, and they are
Cool.
actually related, quote unquote, to Orodreth because they are from the people of Finarfin, and that name
Finarfin.
might sound familiar, Finarfin, because that is so Orodreth, Finrod, and Galadriel. Not sure if you've heard of her. That is their dad is Finarfin. He was the other brother of Fëanor who kind of just always he's like the Aunt Peggy of the group. Sorry, that's a Hamilton reference there. Because he stayed behind in Valinor, but basically most of his children went to
He
Middle-earth.
was pretty chill. He was like, "You know what?
Yeah.
I'm not down with
I'm
all
good
this
here.
stuff that's going on." Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait,
They had
brother
oh
Galadriel's brother is Orodreth? No,
yeah,
it is? Okay. Okay.
it
I'm trying
is.
to put the pieces together for people
There's
at home.
technically
That's what it is.
I know. Yeah, that's what you're here for. And for your delightful humor. Uh so there's technically like 5 of them, but 2 of the names sound really similar and I don't want to get you guys confused at the moment. So those are kind of our main players right now is Orodreth, who is currently the king of Nargothrond, Finrod, who was the founder and king of Nargothrond, and who was our Captain Balerion, R.I.P. And then Galadriel is freaking Galadriel. If you don't know who that is, get off this podcast right now. Okay.
No, they're here to learn. We're glad
Okay.
you're here.
So an interesting detail about their arrival that I'm not sure is exactly necessary, but there are certain things about authors. They put things in books for a reason, and it's not always up to me to decide what that reason is. I can just guess, and it's really random, but it's Tolkien, and I'm going to give you this random thing that is very, okay. Because when they arrived, they told them, we have an errand to the Lord of Nargothrond. So if I told you that, Abby, who would you direct me to?
Orodreth, right?
Right. For some odd reason, they gave him to Túrin.
It's the Rings of Power episode. Like,
yeah,
with
Are you having a little PTSD there?
Yes, it's aggravating.
Yeah.
No, it's the Monty Python. I didn't vote for you.
Yeah. So either Tolkien is trying to say that Túrin was the Lord of Nargothrond. Maybe he had that title, and Orodreth is the king of Nargothrond. Is there a difference? Or that Túrin was that high up in the politics of things that you got to go through Túrin to get to the king. But either way, interesting, odd detail that kind of seems minimal, but I think says a lot for what it is.
Interesting.
And yes, but when Gelmir arrives before Túrin, he's like, actually, we meant the real Lord of Nargothrond. And he says, quote, "It is to Orodreth, Finarfin's son, that we would speak."
He's like, "Get this man out of my face."
Maybe it wasn't clear. Yeah. So Orodreth is summoned, and Gelmir and Arminas are finally able to deliver their message. Now, these 2 elves were actually among Angrod's people. This is one of the brothers that their names sound very similar, so I didn't want to confuse you. But so one of the brothers, and his story quickly ended because he was part of the Dagor Bragolak, aka the Battle of Sudden Flame. If you don't remember what that is, just a quick recap. All these nice elves were living in peace in this nice place called the Green Region, or Ardgalen. And then Morgoth decided one day, hey, how about some fire on that nice green region? And in one quick burst, it was henceforth changed to the Gasping Dust. So from Green Region to Gasping Dust. And the area is also called Anfablith. So
They showed it really well in Rings of Power. Remember when it's like suddenly like when the volcano part in Rings of Power where like it just wipes out everything and it's like the smoky, ashy. That visual of that is what I think of when I think of that. This battle we're talking
it's
about.
a good way of putting it. Yeah. So anyways, since any survivors of that lost their homes, they set about wandering. And Abby, do you remember where most people without homes ended up wandering to in Beleriand during this time period? It happens like 3 or 4 times in the Silmarillion. It's kind of funny.
Are you talking like a direction or like an actual place they go?
They end up hanging out with this really cool dude, and he's like one of the oldest guys in Middle Earth. We see him in the Rings of Power show. He really likes boats.
Is it Círdan? Is it Círdan? Círdan? Is that
Círdan?
Círdan.
Yeah. So Círdan. He has a little settlement by the mouths of Sirion on the coast. And you'll hear in the Silmarillion, and I'm sure later we'll hear, the survivors of any like event end up there somehow. Like it's just like it's like an orphanage. It's like a foster home. It's a like, oh, you lost your house due to a flood? Welcome. Oh, you lost your house due to orcs? Welcome.
It's one of those like shelters during a hurricane that's like in a football stadium.
Yes. Yes. Now, if you remember Círdan, he is super old. He makes awesome ships. He loves the ocean. And therefore, he is pretty tight with Ulmo, who is the Valar of the waters.
I love that we get to see him in Rings of Power.
Ulmo, yes, it is pretty cool. So Ulmo tells Círdan a message that Gelmir and Arminas were tasked to deliver. So, okay, you need to tell them that I told you that, that quote, a great peril that draws near to Nargothrond. Yes. So Orodreth, I'm sure, is a bit taken aback by that. And he's like immediately like on the defense about these guys. And he asks them, quote, why then do you come hither out of the north? Or perhaps you had other errands also? Because if you think about it, and I'm going to show you a map here in a second, because of course I have a map. If they came from Círdan's settlement, which would have come from the southwest, I kind of get the confusion. But I also kind of like the idea that Orodreth is like, so were you like Costco? Like, did you have any other errands while you were out? Like, did you have something else to do in this area? I know we got a really good Starbucks over here, but I don't really understand how you got here and why you came in that entrance.
Well, can I say, if it's anything like the maps that we've seen, if they were given the maps that we've seen in like the Rings of Power show that were just a piece of cloth with scribbled lines on it, I can see why they got lost.
Yeah. But Arminas' reply is interesting, so I'm going to break it up a little so we can talk about it so it doesn't get too confusing. Quote, Lord, ever since the Narnaeth, the Battle of Unnumbered Tears, I have sought for the hidden kingdom of Turgon, which is Gondolin, and I have found it not. And in this search, I fear now that I have delayed our errand hither over long. So this part is interesting because it points that, Túrin's ideas of battling out in the open, the mass making of weapons, the bridge, ultimately the damage is done. That's going to seal the fate of Nargothrond. But you know what? like, he's like, but if I hadn't gotten so distracted looking for Gondolin, maybe we could have made it, like, their message could have gotten here sooner. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Oh, darn. Well, anyway.
Quote, for Círdan sent us along the coast by ship for secrecy and speed, and were put ashore in Drengist. But among the sea folk were some that came south in past years as messengers from Turgon. And it seemed to me from their guarded speech that maybe Turgon dwells still in the north and not in the south as most believed. But we have found neither sign nor rumor of what we sought.
Okay.
So interesting that Círdan sent them by ship for secrecy and speed. Like, why would their journey need to have been secret? It's just a simple message. Speed makes sense because, I got this from the Valar. Apparently, it's probably important. I would consider this like priority mail. Okay, so if you go back to the outline, Abby, and you find my map, I made it bigger so you can see it.
There's a map.
Okay. Okay, so the blue line is Gelmir and Arminas. So they start at that little X that is there, that little V and the coast. That's where the settlement of Círdan is. And, they went by boat. So they go out of there and they go up, and around. And they go to Drengist, like I said. And then somehow from there, they went all the way back down to Nargothrond. Now, Abby, look at where they started and look at where Nargothrond is. Now, does it make sense to go by boat in this instance?
So basically, if I were to explain this map, they were in a little like inlet area of the land, and they went around this like part of land that like juts out, kind of like a, what is that called? I don't remember a peninsula topography of lands, but they had to do this big kind of like C shape to go around the land, the coast, and they go all the way up past them, like in a mountain range, like lots of mileage here.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back down on land the direction from where they started from. So they're basically walking back to where they were. If you were to look at this, it looks like a giant circle. Like they just went in a giant circle.
I have a place in California. I'm in Southern California. I need you to go by boat up to Washington to go to Utah or to like Nevada.
Yeah. So sail around the coast of California, all the way past Oregon, all the way up to Washington, the top of Washington, and then walk through Washington and go all the way back down to Nevada, which is next to California.
Yeah.
And that's where I want you to end up.
Yeah.
But if you just walked from Southern California to Nevada, it would be pretty close.
Right.
We're talking like,
and then I circled the little blue gondolin.
Maybe like a week of walking.
Sorry.
Compared to like a month of traveling on the other way, maybe more.
Right. So I show the line in red on this map is Tor's journey. So he starts in Mithrim, which is kind of at the top there. And then he goes over there and then goes over there, and, it's Gondolin. But if you see where they landed, it does intersect with Tor's journey.
Okay.
So, which is kind of weird because you literally just said, it seemed like they were passing by each other when they were almost like not.
Yeah. Were they walking at the same time? Were they traveling at the same time?
Yeah. They were traveling at the same time. This is when they meet up, at that scene, at that place. It's just interesting that it made it sound like they were going in completely different directions when I'm like, if they just stuck around with Tor, they could have gone to Gondolin, but whatever.
Yeah.
Could have just found out that way. Different fates and destinies and all that.
And all that
Uh,
jazz.
and even and all that jazz. Because even Gelmir does tell Tor, quote, "We will set your feet on the road, but we cannot guide you far, for we are sent back to the lands whence we fled upon an urgent errand." And then later, he also says, quote, "Now we must return and go our ways with all speed, for matters of great peril are moving in Beleriand." So, yeah, it's interesting that they get sidetracked on this super important mission to deliver a message to Nargothrond by the rumors of where Gondolin might be. Because if they literally just stuck with Tor, like I said, they would have found it. And then Tolkien actually takes a second here at the very end of this appendix. So I'm literally like cutting and pasting his timeline here. So sorry, Tolkien, but you should have put it here instead. Because it makes
Yeah,
more
Ashley knows. Ashley knows.
sense.
Get it right,
I
Tolkien.
know. It makes more sense here. I'm sorry.
Get it right. Christopher and John? No.
All of the names.
Yeah.
Quote, "It is nowhere explained why Gelmir and Arminas on an urgent errand to Nargothrond were sent by Círdan all the length of the coast to the Firth of Drengest." I'm like, exactly. Arminas said that it was done for speed and secrecy, but greater secrecy could surely have been achieved by journeying up Narog from the south.
Speed. Really? Speed.
Yeah.
Speed.
It might be supposed that Círdan did this in obedience to Ulmo's command, so that they should meet Tor in Dorloman and guide him through the gate of the Noldor. But this is nowhere suggested.
Maybe Ulmo gave them a super cool like push with a wave, and they literally like jet boated like all the way.
So I like that. Like, I need you guys over here. Kind of like how he did with what was his name? Tor's guide. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna pick you off of the shipwreck, and you get to help this guy now. Varanway.
Tour's guide.
Yeah,
Tour guide.
a lot of things being. Yep. So, anyways, I just thought that part was kind of funny. Anyways, Orodreth wants to know why Arminas and Gelmir are looking for Turgon. So Arminas replies, quote, "Because it is said that his kingdom shall stand longest against Morgoth," which is an awkward thing to say to a king of a completely different kingdom. Just saying, like, well, what's wrong with mine? What's going to happen to mine?
Oh, you guys are going to die. All y'all gonna die.
So Orodreth isn't too pleased upon hearing that. He even goes as far as telling them, you know, if you want to talk to Turgon so bad, go and find him elsewhere because we don't know anything about him here. And I don't need anyone to tell me that Nargothrond is in peril because I already know that. That's why I'm doing all these things. So there.
So there.
Now Gelmir now gets in on the conversation and says, quote, "Be not angered, Lord, if we answer your questions with truth, and our wandering from the straight path hither has not been fruitless, for we have passed beyond the reach of your furthest scouts, spying out the ways of the enemy. There is a great gathering of orcs and evil creatures, and a host is mustering about Sauron's Isle."
Sauron has an isle?
Remember, he has the Isle of Werewolves.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The coolest name for an isle.
Yes. So now Túrin's got to get on this conversation because he seems miffed as well by these elves. And he says, quote, "I know it. Your news is stale. If the message of Círdan was to any purpose, it should have come sooner."
Oh. There's some sass going on here. There's sass.
Definitely some sass
that's happening.
And these messengers are just trying to be nice. They're just trying to help. But
they'll say, "Don't shoot the messenger."
Right? He's like, "I should have come sooner, like before I built a bridge and started a whole new offensive that gave ourselves away. Like maybe I would have done things differently, but we're in too deep now." I already named the bridge after myself, so yeah, that's not going down anytime soon. But Gelmir doesn't give up, and he addresses Orodreth specifically as he says, quote, "Hear then the words of the Lord of Waters." Thus he spoke to Círdan the shipwright. So this is the official message from Ulmo. Quote, "The evil of the north has defiled the springs of Sirion," which is one of the many main rivers, "and my power withdraws from the fingers of the flowing waters. But a worse thing is yet to come forth. Say therefore to the Lord of Nargothrond, shut the doors of the fortress and go not abroad. Cast the stones of your pride into the loud river, that the creeping evil may not find the gate."
He's laying it down. He's like, hey guys, stop it. Hey
Yeah.
guys, shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, this is actually the same exact message that was said in the Silmarillion. The only difference is the conversation with Gelmir and Arminas before and after. Because basically in the Silmarillion, they come to Nargothrond, they relay the message to Orodreth. Orodreth is like, I don't know about that. But Túrin's like, I don't like you telling me what to do. So he ignored it and he didn't do anything.
You're not my real dad. Can't tell me what to do.
Yeah. So back in the Unfinished Tales, however, there is a conversation that happens after this message is delivered. Because when Orodreth hears the message, he actually is very concerned, but he looks to Túrin, quote, "as he ever did for counsel."
What?
So this is going back to your point of why are we trusting the man-child when Orodreth is a king, a wise elf? Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Evidently, he's got some sway over these elves.
So Túrin, of course, is still not trusting these guys, and he doesn't want to. They didn't want to talk to him in the first place, and they basically pulled a, "We want to see the manager instead of you, sir." And they told him to break his cool bridge, which of course he doesn't want to do. And so he's already like, I don't like these guys. They're rude. They want to break my bridge. They don't want to talk to me. They call the manager on me. And he replies to Gelmir and Arminas, quote, "What does Círdan know of our wars, who dwell nigh to the enemy? Let the mariner look to his ships. But if in truth the Lord of Waters would send us counsel, let him speak more plainly, for otherwise it will seem better in our case to muster our strength and go boldly to meet our foes ere they come too nigh."
That's the
How dare you
brain of a
call Círdan?
teenager.
Yeah. Like, how dare you question Círdan, first of all? How dare you question Ulmo, second of all? And like, how dare you even tell Círdan to just like go mind his own business? Like, rude.
What have you done to help Túrin, huh? Except make things worse.
Yeah. And I like that he's like, can you ask Ulmo to like speak more plainly? I don't quite get it. What does he want us to do? Like, it was very clear. Stay inside, break your stupid bridge. It was
Shut
very
it down.
clear.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. So Gelmir has had enough of this errand. He's like, I've had it with this man boy. And he tries to leave. He bows, basically says, hey, I just deliver the messages, man. But Arminas wants to know who this prick is that's being so rude, as he says, quote, "Are you indeed of the house of Hador, as I have heard said?"
He's giving how Thranduil like can look down, like his sneer, like, who are you?
Yes.
Like,
yes. To which Túrin then replies, quote, "Here I am named Agarwine." Remember, that means blood-stained. "The black sword of Nargothrond. You deal much, it seems, in guarded speech, friend Arminas, and it is well the Turgon's secret is hid from you, or soon it would be heard in Angband. A man's name is his own, and should the son of Hurin learn that you have betrayed him when he would be hid, then may Morgoth take you and burn out your tongue."
whoa.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. Like, calm down. He was just asking. And Arminas is like completely shocked by Túrin's response and his, quote, black wrath.
I could see
But
Turin saying that, and then other people were like, "Whoa, whoa, let's tone it down, everybody. Let's the vibes are getting
yeah.
crazy. Let's
Mhm.
bring it back down."
And Gelmir is actually the one to respond this time as he says, quote, shall not be betrayed by us, Agarwine. Are we not in council behind closed doors where speech may be plainer? And Arminas asked this thing, I deem, because it is known to all that dwell by the sea that Ulmo has great love for the house of Hador, and some say that Hurin and Hur, his brother, came once into the hidden realm. So Gelmir is basically saying, like, we just heard because, we live next to Ulmo, Círdan, we're kind of like tight like that, that you might know basically because your dad would know where Gondolin is. And we've been trying to find Gondolin. It's like kind of what delayed our getting here. So if you knew anything about that, then that'd be cool. So we're not trying to like out you or like tell Morgoth on you that you're here. So Túrin definitely overreacted. But I wouldn't say that Túrin has the love of Ulmo as much as, especially compared to Túr.
He only has love in it, room in
So
his heart for one adorable mortal man, and he's chosen.
yeah.
He's chosen Túrin.
Mm-hmm. And it was a good choice, comparatively so. So Túrin isn't swayed, though, as he says, quote, if that were so, then he would speak of it to none, neither the great nor the less, and least of all to his son in childhood. Therefore, I do not believe that Arminas asked this of me in hope to learn aught of Turgon. I mistrust such messengers of mischief.
Ooh, sassy.
Like, if he really wanted to know where Gondolin was, he wouldn't ask me. I haven't seen Hurin since I was a kid. He's not going to tell his little son where Gondolin is. And you guys are just being mischievous. But also, why else would he ask? Like, I think it's funny that Túrin is so worried about his identity getting out when he is doing so much to reveal his identity and Nargothrond's identity to everyone else. Like, you're pretty much burying your
His
own self.
priorities are a little off.
Yeah. But Arminas is pissed off now, rightly so, as he says, quote, save your mistrust. Gelmir mistakes me. I asked because I doubted what here seems believed. For little indeed do you resemble the kin of Hador, whatever your name.
Oh.
Yeah. So Arminas has heard rumors at Nargothrond, apparently it's been going around, that he is the head of the House of Hador, which is true. And the people of Nargothrond do know that, but it's interesting that it was gossiped about like that because Túrin really wanted it on the DL.
I told you not to say that.
But
come on, man.
But it is also interesting that he just asks if he was of the House of Hador, not of, are you Túrin, son of Hurin? So maybe he wasn't exactly betrayed by the people of Nargothrond. Like, oh yeah, I just think he's a man. Oh, which house is he from? Maybe the House of Hador. I'm not so sure. So it could have been completely innocent.
Just throwing it out there.
But Túrin is just, yeah. Arminas says, Hurin I have seen, and his fathers before him, and in the wastes of Dorloman I met with Túr, son of Hur, Hurin's brother, and he is like his fathers, as you are not.
Oh, that guy's way cooler than you.
I mean, he really is. But at least Arminas somewhat knows what he's talking about. Like, the resemblance is not there. We talked about this, I think, the other day, that Túrin doesn't look like Túr. Do you remember why?
Because his mom is a elf, dark-haired lady, and she's goth, and he got inherited goth.
Yes. She's not an elf. She's a woman, but she was called like elf-like or elf woman.
Well,
like,
that's right.
She looked
She
so
looked
great.
like an elf, but she's not.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Yeah, it's because his mom is of the darker haired, darker looking house. And he literally says that. He says, quote, "That may be, though of Tur I have heard no word ere now. But if my head be dark and not golden, of that I am not ashamed, for I am not the first sons in the likeness of his mother. And I come through Morwen Elfwyn of the house of Beor and the kindred of Baron Camlost." But interesting that
Oh.
this is the first that he's hearing of Tur. He's like, I have a cousin? Damn. Like,
And evidently he's cooler than me? People like him more than me?
yeah,
Ah.
yeah. Now, Arminas has a response. It's pretty bold, but I'm kind of here for it because we love Tur here. He says, quote, "I spoke not of the difference between the black and the gold, but others of the house of Hodor bear themselves otherwise, and Tur among them. For they use courtesy, and they listen to good counsel, holding the lords of the West in awe. But you, it seems, will take counsel with your own wisdom, or with your sword only, and you speak haughtily. And I say to you, Agarwine Mormagil, that if you do so, other shall be your doom than one of the houses of Hodor and Beor might look for."
Snap, 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 snap.
Yeah. I can just see everyone being like, oh.
He's right though. He's right though. That guy sucks.
He's so right, though. That guy sucks. Gwendor's like, finally! That's what I've been trying to say.
That's what I've been trying to say this whole time.
Yeah.
But when you say things like that to people like Túrin, they could be like, well, I'm gonna go destroy everything you love now. Like they can turn.
I was honestly
Not
a little
so great.
surprised by Túrin's response here.
Okay.
So instead of Túrin being super offended, blowing off the handle, I mean, he was threatening to burn out tongues a minute ago. He actually responds, quote, "Other it has ever been. And if, as it seems, I must bear the hate of Morgoth because of the valor of my father, shall I also endure the taunts and ill-boding of a renegade, though he claim the kinship of kings? I counsel you, get you back to the safe shores of the sea."
Whoa, whoa.
So basically, I like the first part, like, other has it ever been. Like, Túrin knows his fate is cursed. He knows that he's not going to have the good life of, what a person of the House of Hodor or the House of Beor might have. He's like, no, I know I'm screwed. And Gwendor himself told him, like, even, like, not too long ago, that due to Hurin's defiance of Morgoth, Hurin's whole line is cursed. He knows he's screwed. And then saying that Túrin is also saying that Gelmir and Arminas are renegade or like runaways, fugitives, but claim kinship of kings because they are like the kin of Androg and therefore the kin of Orodreth, the king of Nargothrond, I guess. But I like that they are taunting and ill-biting him. Like, is that really what they're doing?
Yeah.
Or are they just the pot killing the kettle black?
Are they spitting facts?
They're like, get out of here.
That everybody agrees with.
Yeah.
And you I said good day, sir. I said good day.
Yeah. And they actually do. They leave. Gelmir and Arminas go back to Círdan's settlement in the south, and that's kind of the end of the conversation.
It's hard to
but despite
it's hard to have any argument with people like that because then they're like, they just don't listen to you. So you're like, you know what? I said what I needed to say, and he can do with it what he wants, and I'm gonna go.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Quote, "But despite Túrin's taunts, they would gladly have awaited battle beside their kin, and they went only because Círdan had bidden them under the command of Ulmo to bring back word to him of Nargothrond and of the speeding of their errand there."
Okay.
Like, if Túrin had played nice, or if had not have been there at all, they would have, gone through the whole battle of Nargothrond that's upcoming. they would have stood by Orodreth's side, knowing that that was their, distant cousin or whatever. Um, they only left because Ulmo wanted like a report about like, so how'd he take it? What'd he do?
How'd
What'd
it
he say?
go?
Yeah. I can only imagine that conversation. Not great. Yeah, they're not gonna do anything about your message.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because after they left, Orodreth is really worried about their morning message. Túrin's just pissed off because he's the kind of guy, when you tell him what to do, he just digs in his heels even more. Like, you could be telling him, like, you should drink water. Water's really good for you. He's like, I will drink my own water when I darn well want to. And then, like, refuses to drink water for, like, a day. Like, just,
He's a
if it's not his idea.
toddler.
Yes. Or a teenager.
I do it myself. I do it all myself. Me.
Quote, he would by no means listen to their counsels, and least of all would he suffer the great bridge to be cast down.
And then he ruins everything, and so many people die. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Which is odd that Orodreth had this much trust in Túrin's counsel, that he didn't just order the bridge to be taken down himself. Like, he trusted Túrin over Círdan and over Ulmo, one of the Valar. Like, I am just thrown by that.
I don't like the Orodreth guy then. He's not very smart.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about the second brother in line compared with Finrod. I mean, Finrod just took all the goodness and just was too awesome. And
Maybe he was the kind of king that's like, is this something that will make everybody like me? Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, I feel like that's very accurate. So I'm sure that decision's not going to haunt Orodreth later, because yeah, it won't cause any problems later. Not at all. Nope. Just
it's all
good.
Up
and
everything's
totally
happy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's actually where I'm going to leave you today.
Ah, man, there was some sass this episode.
I know. Mm-hmm.
What was I gonna say? Túrin is turning out to be not my favorite person in this story.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the Silmarillion, he just doesn't make good decisions, but it feels more forced upon him. Like, he had good intentions, maybe. Like, he just misunderstood. But in this, no, he is an idiot.
Yeah. He is a full of himself teenager who thinks he knows better.
Yeah, which is why honestly, you made the comparison to General Custer earlier, and I'm like, it's not far off.
Yeah.
Battle of Little Bighorn, Battle of Tunlodden, it's kind of the same.
Please make a meme of the scene from Night at the Museum.
Okay.
When he's like,
you got it.
Surprise attack! When he tries to say Sacagawea over and over.
That actor's amazing. Well, thank you for joining us on this journey through Middle Earth. Please don't forget to follow us at Sisters of the Shire podcast on Instagram. Big thank you to our patrons, Dan, Tom, Kevin, and Victoria.
Yeah.
We're so grateful that you guys are supporting us in this podcast. We do this for fun, but we do have expenses that happen with having a podcast that, just the little bits help. Just $3 a month, you can become an elf friend of the Shire. $7 a month makes you a dwarf friend of the Shire. And $9 a month gets you in as a man or a woman friend of the Shire. So not that much, and every little bit helps. But you know what? If you can't help us monetarily, we get it. If you could just leave us a rating or a review, or share with a friend, or share with us on Instagram, or Someone just said like, "Oh, I just commented on this other website that you guys are awesome," and I said, "Thank you." I don't know what that website is, but I appreciate it. So whatever you guys can do
Good
to spread the
things,
word.
all good things.
Yeah. We did get a new review on Apple, but you know, it wasn't a word review, it was just the rating, I guess. And it
Thank
was only
you.
1 star. No, it was 1
What?
star.
No?
Um, yeah. I yeah, I'm kind of offended. I'm not sure what I did to earn your hate like that, sir or ma'am, but I'm sorry if whatever I did. Guess we're not everyone's cup of tea. That's fine. That's fine. If we are your cup of tea, though, we would appreciate you bringing that rating back up. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. As far as world news goes, Denmark overtook Brazil. Poland overtook New Zealand, and that is it.
Good job, guys. Good job out there.
Good job. Denmark and Poland are getting it. You should have like a party.
Yeah, let's get our ratings back up, people. Come on. Let's do this.
I'm not sure what we did.
It only takes like 2 seconds. It's
2
free.
seconds.
If you like us and you listen to us, just go click the 5 little stars. That's all you got to do.
That's all you gotta do.
Anyway, well, thanks for teaching me today.
You're welcome. Until next time, I've been Ashley.
And I've been Abby, and this has been the Sisters of the Shire podcast, and we're so happy you joined us today, and we hope you can join us next time. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for teaching me a day.
Yay!